says that, but then Marshall's fingerprints were in the evidence room, and the print had been wiped, but not well enough. There was still one print left. Because he only wiped the part where there was blood, thinking that's it, but he didn't think about the other fingers that weren't covered in blood, because only part of the finger is covered in blood, look. Part of the hand. So he missed other prints. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime, and yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. Before I shoot you in Texas. Quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at that scene, or to be exact, a handprint. See, Edgeworth didn't know about this. He thought we were just asking him here to talk about the security systems. But we're like, no, we got a print. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is. I make my rounds like once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Blood that probably matches Meakin's. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away, however. A luminal testing clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? Seems to me, there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the bloodstained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. But he did say he didn't go in there all day. Okay, testify. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place of the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprints was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? Was he? How do we know that? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. Defense may now cross-examine the witness. He's hiding something. Now's my chance to prove it. So he said he thinks the guy was wearing gloves, but nothing like that has come up yet. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yep, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. Great. Now we can prove that he actually opened it on the day of the crime because of the video. Oh, he's just trapped himself. Yes! You have a bad foot at the moment, Luigi? Oh! Ouch. But as long as you've got some comfy shoes for it. That's good. I hope they help. It's snowing outside? Ooh. But that's the locker I used when I was a detective, and the locker I still use. That is in there now, though there's a heap of broken dreams. See. It'd be strange if my prints weren't on that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without even knowing it. Marshall's fingerprints updated in the court record. Okay. You want to play with snow, you can have it. Yes. Let's just question everything, and then we'll worry about what we're going to object to. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It's just so happened the murderer touched the lock where my fingerprints were by chance. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with no mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? The bloodstain and the print are completely unrelated. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day, kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. That's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. But that's just words that sound the same. Come on, that's nothing. Yeah, homonyms have nothing to do with this. The murderer was wearing gloves. How does he know that? That's never come up. I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, although it was left by the murderer. That's right, the one that was on Gumshoe's locker didn't actually have any print on it, come to think of it. And that does mean that there was probably gloves. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing the gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. You got some of them snowmen, partner. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the for the buzzards. Blah, blah, blah. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So, as long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. Interesting, the tape does actually prove you were in the locker room. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? We're going to question first, then we're going to object to that with the tape. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. Indeed it is. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Partner. Blind spots? Places you can't see. Camera's panning back and forth, and the floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Very well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Yes! My big brain moment from earlier. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright. You might wind up being the one making the mistake. They shoot for that in Texas. Let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence. Okay. Prepare for nightmares again. Oh, don't look at it. So, one of the things about the evidence room from the last stream, for those who are just joining us, we noticed this locker close to the door. There was something stuck out of it. It's not stuck out of it here. At least not during the supposed assault with Meekins. That's what this tape shows. Supposedly, Detective Goodman, at the same time as he was being killed over somewhere else, here, opening a locker that was already unlocked, so we know it wasn't him. Yikes. Meekins comes in then to challenge him and asks to see his ID because he didn't recognize him, he didn't know who this guy is, and then he gets attacked with a knife. The same knife that he's shaving himself with. Meekins got arrested for murder as a result. But you notice that locker still doesn't have a thing in it? Camera pans back around. Meekins got knocked out probably by the vase that the fake Goodman hit him with, I would imagine. That's why that was broken on the floor. And then... the very locker that Marshall just said is his, and the only locker we know that he can open, has been opened and closed. And there's something sticking out, because he was in a rush. And that's why his bloody handprint was on there, and how he knows the murderer used gloves. There. How's that for evidence? Oh, should I have clicked on the cloth? Not the actual door. I did that wrong. Please allow me to apologise for my colleague, Your Honour. He gets carried away sometimes. Will you forgive him too, Officer Marshall? He's not a bad man, just a bit disillusioned. Of course, I'm not one to gun down unarmed boys. Oh, great. Now Edgeworth is defending me. Guess that means I missed the mark. Let's get back to the cross-examination. Damn it, I did that wrong. I clicked on the wrong bloody thing. I've got to go through all this again. Oh, for God's sake. I have to question it first, and then it goes to this video. I'm doing this all wrong! My big brain moment has been ruined. Damn it, game. Yes, we have to question it, not present an objection. This is when the game sometimes is inconsistent. It's like, I should be able to do that since we've already pressed. I should be able to now just go back to say, well, let's have another look at the tape. Because it goes to the same place. Let's just skip past this dialogue we've already seen. Right, let's just skip, and then he automatically objects. So I should have been able to object anyway. Let's get back through all this. Show evidence, there we go. I've just used up 2 perfectly good turns. By clicking on the wrong things. Okay, we have to click on the actual cloth, not the door. Did that wrong earlier. Bring our attention back to the security camera. Is a mistake I'm afraid you'll not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Shoot for that in Texas. Could you sum up what you say, or what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Yep. Exactly 8 words, not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out? That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! Order! It would seem... hold your horses. Sorry, partner. But you got the wrong man. Is that so? But what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. Actually, it does. For some reason, I can't scream hold it, but objection can. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. Not my fault he happened to choose mine. He's forgotten about the fingerprint system that he didn't even know existed. Why is everybody staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just plain dumb, he really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person that can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I'll call your bluff. You say I opened that locker, now prove it. Well... that there, right? Only assigned detectives' prints can unlock it. The indicator lamp lights up when it's open. Fingerprint sensor. Yes, that we talked about earlier, which he's already forgotten. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. They just go and pull the door thinking, yeah, it's just always unlocked. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Look at he's chewing on some jerky now. I only got one word for you, partner. No! Order! Order! Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's with this ole? Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure out the rest from here. We can. Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? Seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Well, he was obviously here. He didn't see Officer Marshall because he was dressed as Goodman, but he was here. The only person he could have seen was the supposed victim. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. But we already know that wasn't good. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins would witness the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. Which we've already said he was. The answer is simple, he couldn't show it. Because the photo would be different. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on the card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realised the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say on this, Officer Marshall? And the reason he can't show his own card is because he doesn't have one anymore. He's not a detective. Right? So he wouldn't have a card with his picture on, but he could have been, oh, this is me. You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it? You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you've got hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining again with the beard hating. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond the shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. Yeah, but we've already proven that he opened the locker, so it has to be him. The very same argument that we're trying to say that is Goodman, which we debunked, can be used to prove that this was the guy in there all along, and Meekins couldn't have seen anyone else. So obviously he's the one, what can I do? Because even if he does say, oh yeah, I did poke my head in and open the door and closed it again, well, why didn't he do anything about the fight that was going on in clear sight? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. Basics? Me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise, but rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime, yet he did despite the chances it might be discovered as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, did he put the disguise in there? That's what it was. He threw the disguise in there because it was covered in blood, and he couldn't go walking through the police station covered in Officer Meekins' blood after he slashed him in the hand. Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. It's a white piece of fabric, right? It could be the coat. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is likely key to our answer. I don't have any evidence, this video is my only shot. Very well, let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. So, the game is intent on giving us nightmares. So obviously he threw the coat in there, in my opinion. He wouldn't have needed to change his trousers because he wears a poncho. He could have just taken one out of the locker and thrown that on, right? He just put the hat and the coat in there. And the reason is because of that. The blood. Now, what does the game want me to click on? The coat or the blood? Probably the blood, because we have to show the reason. He got blood on his white coat. It would be too obvious. Let's try that. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? Keep that kind of language out of court, please, thank you. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago. If you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Again, it comes back to this SL9 incident. Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. All right. It seems the time has come. It's confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed up like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. And I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the security cameras. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. I believe him. So you suppose the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor at the evidence room. Well, that would be Meekins' hand, right? That would have come out of Meekins' cut hand. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? I mean, that's the thing as well. This ID card was found at the scene of the crime at the prosecutor's office, as was... oh, there it is. The shoe, with the blood on the underside that led us to determine that this shoe wasn't covered with blood on the bottom in the parking garage because there wasn't enough. There was just a few specks. This is a pool, right? Because there's some on the heel, there's some on the front. So we found the large pool in the evidence room. So he used this as part of his disguise. And then he took it back along with the badge when he was the one who turned up at the crime scene to seal it off and investigate. That's too much blood. It wouldn't be from a hand. You think so? I mean, I guess maybe. It is quite a lot. If no one was murdered, how could that be? You might be right, I guess. Oh, right. So he's proposing that. Which means he's covering up. Alright. Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. Now, I think Goodman was killed in the evidence locker. That was his blood. Right? Could have been. So I still think he was killed at the police station. He had to be. It was stabbed and then bundled in the trunk. So what couldn't he let die? When you say it, you mean... do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only the case's lead detective can look through that evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner, that case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? Again, a family member was killed, I think. That day was my last chance, that's why I stole the detective's ID, and dressed like him I planned to take out the evidence.